Hello guys, I'm Manphalanges. Welcome to my unboxing of the Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum that I just picked up from Micro Center for a lot of money. So this is going to be my unboxing and a first impressions of what I think about it. So I'm a palm gripper. I like on-round switches. Right now I've been using a Logitech MX510, which is like the same thing as a G400 or G400XS or MX518. I've also used a Zowie Z-A11 and really liked that. I decided to give this a try. I returned my Zowie Z-A11 because I like on-round switches and the Huanos and those weren't really doing it for me. So that's a pretty box. Taking a look at the box here, it just talks about the super low latency, the 3366 Pixart PMW sensor, and then left and right, so it's ambidextrous. So that's actually a nice texture to that. Okay. Alright, and there it is. Ooh, that's pretty. That's a lot lighter than I had expected. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll go over my first impressions just really briefly. It's definitely very light. You know, I actually have a scale here. I can weigh it. So I think the Logitech website says 104 grams. 108, 107, 108. Okay. So it still feels surprisingly light though, and I wonder if that's... It feels like the weight oh yeah. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. It definitely glides very well, and I guess that makes sense because this thing has big mouse feet. The weight feels like it's a little bit more in the back. That's probably where the battery is, so that makes sense. And it looks like it has a couple buttons on the left side and a blank on the right. Tilt on the scroll wheel, and it has the hyper scroll wheel. Left and right mouse buttons. Those feel very crisp for being on-round switches. Oh yeah. So I know on the Logitech website they say these use like a pin and lever kind of hinge design rather than typically on a mouse you have like a solid piece of plastic that you're bending to click. These definitely feel a bit more crisp. I like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what else is in the box. A user guide. So it looks like there's a couple prongs in that just so that when it's plugged in, it's nice and sturdy in there. The braiding on this cable it's very thick, but it's a surprisingly soft braided cable. That's something I really liked about the G502 over here. Because it's a softer braided cable, when you're moving the mouse around, the cable is very willing to bend since it's so soft, so it doesn't restrict your movement as much. Alright, so this little case, we have a nice foam, and we have our other side buttons for the right side of the mouse, a blank, and this must be the adapter. So it looks like to get the wireless receiver, that is this guy right here, you can plug this into your tower. Don't lose this. You can replace these if you do, but they are like, I think they're like 20 bucks. It looks like for lowest latency, this is an adapter. You put this next to your mouse pad so that your mouse is really close to the receiver. Well, neat. Overall, I'm very happy with this. As a palm gripper, I can already tell you that I definitely really like the shape. I really like it's a little bit fatter at the butt than in like the midsection or towards the front. I'm not a big fan of the Razer Death Adder. For me, the hump on the Death Adder is a little bit too much in the middle. And it feels like all the buttons aren't using the cheap, like my MX510, it has like just these regular old push buttons on it, and I don't like those. It feels like all of these use a mechanical micro switch, which is nice. You can see the scroll wheel, they took some weight out of the scroll wheel to make this lighter weight. It's hollow. Scroll wheel feels like it goes a little bit slower than like on my G502, but that makes sense because with the lighter scroll wheel, just momentum, mass times velocity. So it looks like on-off switches on the bottom here. Oh, pretty cool. I guess then this is the battery indicator. That's a bit bright. I really like the shape of this ridge here that gives me a support for my ring finger for when I do movements and I have to lift the mouse. That was something I didn't like about the SteelSeries Rival or the Razer Death Adder, because this side of the mouse sloped outward, I wasn't getting enough grip on that side with my ring finger, and I was having to press harder with my ring finger, which made my hand fatigue after about an hour of play. Something else about the mouse, I noticed another reviewer, they said the side buttons, since these are kind of free floating on that pivot design, they complain that they have a little bit of side movement, which you can definitely see here, but I don't really grip the mouse in such a way where that's a problem. Speaking of my grip, so it looks like the side buttons are very easily accessible with my thumb. I don't really have to move my thumb a whole lot to get to them. I can just kind of pivot my thumb and click the desired button. The finish of this here, it's all a matte plastic feel. Feels like a sweat resistant. It's a little bit on the slippery side, but luckily the side here has some grippy lines in it. Also this is a little bit more grippy here too, and here. These gaps in here, I thought that might bother me, but my hand doesn't even contact those parts. So that was actually a pretty smart design to reduce some weight. It looks like this middle part here is a chrome finish. Ooh, fingerprints, ooh. Well, I guess that was my unboxing of the Logitech G900 Chaos Spectrum. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.